Let's talk schedule, guys. I've heard it said that we have a cupcake schedule. Hey, we're ranked as the bottom third in the league in terms of easiness. This should be a piece of cake, right? Stick with me for a few minutes. There's some things you should know. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Stephen Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel. The sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Hey, what's good, guys? If this is the first, second, third time you caught my content and you enjoyed today's discussion, if I can ask you to do me a huge solid here, guys, hit that subscribe button. I would love to add you to the community. We just crossed over 5,000. We're heading towards 10,000 subscribers. I would love for you to be part of that equation. Just need you to hit the subscribe button to do that. To my OG subscribers, if I can ask you guys to just keep hitting that like button, keep smashing the thumbs up, help me spike the algorithm, help me get this in front of new people to potentially convert into our little community here. Hey, thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all. So today's topic, we're talking the 2022 NFL schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. I'm going to be honest right from the jump. I think that there's a little bit of truth sprinkled into some of the things I've heard, and I think there's a little bit of missing the forest for the trees to an extent here as well. Now, I want to state what I think everyone has nailed. They've hit the nail on the head with the hammer, if you will. They have absolutely got right the fact that we do not play the onslaught of quarterbacks that we played early on last season, right? I mean, it was grueling having to face Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert, and you even had Matt Ryan in week one. You know, we had Derek Carr. I mean, we had a lot of quarterbacks that were able to take advantage of us, right? We got by against guys like Matt Ryan in week one, but most of those dudes really took advantage of the fact that our pass rush was not sequenced up with our pass defense. And it just kind of really gave them very easy check down completions to make against our system and scheme. So, I agree. If you look at the schedule and you look at the onslaught of quarterbacks we're playing, it's not as big a deal as we faced last season, right? I mean, there's some guys out there that can play, they can spin the rock, guys, to be fair. Like, Kirk Cousins, and I'm ranking this by NFL passer rating versus pressure. He's a 14th ranked quarterback versus pressure. Carson Wentz somehow, some way was the 10th ranked quarterback versus pressure. Kyler Murray was the 16th ranked. Dak was the 8th ranked, right? We got guys like Matt Ryan, who was the 12th ranked, who will be on our schedule this year. Somehow A-Rod was 20th, and Tannehill was 19th versus pressure. That was their passer rating, at least. So, I mean, we got Jameis Winston, who was ranked 17th when he was playing. There's some guys out here that can make plays. There's no doubt about it. They can spin the football. But with that said, I agree with that side of the argument that we're not facing that same onslaught of quarterbacks. It's not quite the same, right? I mean, there's definitely a little bit more of an ability to take a breath of fresh air, or take a deep breath, if you will, and kind of relax. So, what is the complexity? I started off by saying I think people are kind of missing the forest for the trees and maybe are taking our opponents a little too lightly. Well, there's the first aspect of things, which is, guys, it's preseason. These preseason rankings don't mean jack crap. Oh, this team has an easy schedule. This team has a hard schedule. Nobody's played a single game in 2022 yet. We really don't know who the talented teams are and who the talented teams are not. There's a handful of teams you can always predict because you know how well and how talented the roster is, but let's be honest, man. Every year, teams rise and fall. Everyone knew Cincinnati would probably take a step forward. Nobody thought they were taking that step forward. So I always caution people, be a little careful with this. Never, ever trust these preseason ranking things. They tend to be really wildly wrong to begin with. So that would be my first thing, is that, hey man, this is a preseason ranking. That crap doesn't matter. Football's got to be decided on the field. But the second thing I'll bring up is this, is if we're going to talk numbers, and yes, we can look at the fact that we're playing some pretty easy, quarterbacks to an extent, right? We got guys that aren't going to really scare you in games this season. But with that said, we're also kind of missing out on the fact that, hey man, we're playing 8 teams that finished as top 16, top half of the league, DVOA rated pass defenses. We're playing 3 teams that were top 5, 4 teams that were top 10, and 6 out of the top 12 teams. I would definitely warn people that if you knew the second half of the schedule and how good those pass defenses could potentially be, I'd be a little careful with some of the takes I've heard out there. Because let me just start with, starting at November 20th, so the last 8 games or so this season, 9 games. Start with Indianapolis, right? Yes, they have a new system coming in probably. I believe they're checking in a new system. But that is a team that has traditionally been a very, very good pass defense. They ranked 17th overall in DVOA last year, and that was definitely kind of a down year for them. Green Bay. Green Bay has one of the actual mentors, Jerry Gray, to Jonathan Gannon and to Brandon Staley. Those two guys basically interned for him, back in the early 2010s on the Tennessee Titans staff. And later on, Jonathan Gannon was underneath his tutelage with the Minnesota Vikings. Jerry Gray is the defensive backs coach for the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay was the top 16 pass defense. We got them November 27th. Tennessee Titans, December 4th. They got a veteran quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, just like Green Bay's got Aaron Rodgers, just like Indianapolis has Matt Ryan. You got good pass defenses and good defenses surrounded by veteran quarterback play. Okay? Tennessee finished 11th overall in pass defense last year, and they have spent a lot of draft capital at the defensive backfield. They're definitely trying to plug guys in with talent there and try to make that jump outside of just the top 12 into the top 10, if you will. That's a really good pass defense. The Giants are a little hard to figure out, guys. I mean, technically they were top half of the league in DVOA pass defense last year, but they just lost probably their most talented defender in James Bradbury. And then on top of that, they're switching systems here. Wink Martindale runs a completely different scheme from Patrick Graham. Not the same type of scheme, guys, completely different. Both of them are aggressive, but Patrick Graham would play a little bit more with two high safeties, a little bit of keeping two safeties over the top, whether that was quarters, whether that was cover two. He even ran a lot of cover 5, which is cover 2 man underneath. So it's a little different. Wink Martindale runs a little bit more man coverage. He's aggressive, man. He's an aggressive blitzer. So it's going to be a little different there. The Giants are definitely going to have some things they got to go through, but nonetheless, I mean, it's a projection. We don't know what they're going to be. We'll have to see. But we know that they have, underneath Patrick Graham's tutelage at least, or leadership, that was a good pass defense. We'll see how that kind of stacks out this season. Chicago was a top 12 pass defense. Now, they got a young guy in Justin Fields who's got a lot to prove as a quarterback. We'll have to see where that ranks, but they got guys out there that can cover in Chicago, to be quite fair. The Dallas Cowboys were the number 2 overall DVOA pass-rated defense. Listen, I like to use DVOA, and I know this stuff's all subjective, guys. I understand that when you get into ranking these, teams and stuff like that, you're using some sort of subjectivity to what they're doing. But I think it's important to understand how they rank them, and why I prefer DVOA, which is run by Pro Football Outsiders, is I think those guys do a really good job of filtering by place situation, right? They're taking into account the actual situation that's occurring. In addition to that, they're actually qualifying your opponents. They're making sure that you're not just feasting upon some bottom dwellers. So I got to be honest with you, man. Dallas has got a really, really good pass defense, guys. I know that a lot of that is because of how good Diggs has been for them. And I know that they got, I think they have decent safety play, to be quite honest. I don't think it's the top of the league, but it's pretty good safety play, if I'm being honest. Now, opposite of Diggs is probably their question mark, and I think that's where they could be had a little bit. But nonetheless, hey, man, when you're rated number 2, perhaps you disagree with the number 2 ranking. You say that it was predicated on too much of the big play aspect of it. That's cool, guys, but I can't see too many publications being like 16 rankings off. You know what I mean? Like, clearly it's a good pass defense. Past Dallas, guys, we come back. We play New Orleans. New Orleans, I believe, was the number 4 overall rated DVOA defense. This is how we're ending our season, guys. And then we have the Giants again. So from Indianapolis to Green Bay to Tennessee to the Giants to the Bears to Dallas to New Orleans to the Giants, we got some teams that can run defenders out there and can defend. And that's just simply to say, we've upgraded this passing game. We know this offensive line can get kind of down and dirty in the trenches and move you off the ball for the running game. Nick's got to put some stuff out there. Coach Sirianni, Coach Steichen, those two guys need to come up with solid game plans. They need to have the game plans in place on the back half of this season to win these football games. In addition to that, I'm going to state it outright, guys. I mean, Jalen Hurts has got out there. They went out there and they did right by Jalen Hurts, guys. They did right by him. They went out there and got him the A.J. Brown. They got him Devontae Smith last year's draft. Quez Watkins is emerging on the scene. They went out and got a guy that's familiar with the scheme and the system, and Zach Pascal that can step in as a 4 or 5 and give you quality reps if need be. Dallas Goedert was the number 1 rated yards per route run tight end in all the NFL last season. That's a big statement to make, guys. That means that he was the most productive tight end on the field from the passing game. Doesn't mean that he had the most yards or anything like that. It means when you broke it down per snap, in terms of the routes he actually ran, he was the most productive guy when they got him out there. Hey, I mean, you got Miles Sanders, you got Kenneth Gainwell. This team is stacked. Our guys got to perform. You know, those key guys, these building blocks, these potential building blocks of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. The head coach in Nick Sirianni, the offensive coordinator in Shane Steichen, the quarterback, and then those offensive weapons, man. We need Jalen Hurts, and we need these offensive weapons to be in sync with one another and to shine out in the second half of the season, right? I mean, he's going to have that initial adjustment he can make. But with that said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think people are sleeping on Detroit. Yeah, we're really fortunate we don't have to play Jameson Williams. That's definitely a big plus. But Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Shark, TJ Hawkinson, they drafted Derek Deese Jr. and James Mitchell at tight end, and they still got DeAndre Swift. Those guys, you know, I think their biggest problem is play calling. I'm not a big believer in Anthony Lynn, guys. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal against Anthony Lynn. I know he's been around the game a long time. He's very knowledgeable, but I think he's a very passive play caller, to be quite honest. You know, Minnesota, yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins is kind of, but to be honest with you, man, Justin Jefferson is a baller. When Adam Thielen is on the field and healthy, that's a really good football player. KJ Osborne, he did some pretty good things for them last year, guys. He was over 600 yards, put up 7 touchdowns. I don't think their depth is that impressive, and I think they can get themselves into some really big trouble if they have any injuries sustained at all throughout the course of the year, but we got them week 2. I think that's a harder matchup than people think. I don't know what Washington's going to be with Carson Wentz. I will say that Terry McLaurin to me is probably the third-rated wide receiver in this division, but I think that those top 3 receivers in this division are quite good. I think the top 4 or 5 guys in this division, those are really good wide receivers in the league. I don't know what's going to be there with Carson Wentz, guys. That one I think should be a very winnable game, even though it's on the road. And then we got Jacksonville and Arizona, guys. I'm going to tell you, that Indianapolis, Green Bay, and Tennessee game where you got really good pass defenses, you got veteran quarterbacks in Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, and Ryan Tannehill. You got teams that believe in the running game and can get physical. Green Bay's got a really good running game, right? Indianapolis has got a good running game. Tennessee's got a good running game. They got veteran guys, and, you know, of course, Aaron Rodgers being in Green Bay is a complete and utter playmaker. I mean, that dude just makes plays. We'll see what happens there, guys. I mean, they can... Those 3 teams kind of... That little stretch of games there, you know, I know a lot of people are making, you know, like, hey, man, we got 5 primetime games. That's pretty cool, man. The league's excited about us. That's cool, guys, and I enjoy getting primetime games just like anybody else. We also play on New Year's Day against New Orleans, which I think is going to be a really good game. We got Christmas Eve with Dallas. I mean... Yeah, we got some interesting and intriguing games. But I want to warn people, I think the schedule, I wouldn't buy into just, oh, this is a real soft schedule. Yeah, there's one benefit, guys. We do not play the Tom Brady's, the, you know, Patrick Mahomes is. You know, we don't have that early onslaught, no doubt. But we got some pretty good pass defenses we're up against this year. All right, guys, leave your comments down below. What do you think about the schedule? What are your thoughts, guys? I appreciate y'all's time and attention. I'll see you guys on the next video.